Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Blue Monday podcast. It is close season, but there is still plenty to talk about, not least recruitment. The transfer window is open, and after last summer, expectations for new signings are probably quite reasonable, aren't they? So, making his podcast debut, and we're very, very pleased to have him on, is Oscar, who you may know on Twitter as ITFC Analytics. So this is the player that everybody wants, and always amuses me this. Right, we need a striker. What do we need? Okay, someone who's going to score 25 goals, who's 22 years old, who's going to be cheap, who's tall, fast, never gets injured, and you're like, okay, I think you've just described Erling Haaland, and he's gone to Manchester City.
Fair enough.
But this was a big problem last year, as you mentioned. What do we need? Football has changed a lot. It's, the player that literally just sticks the ball in the net kind of doesn't exist, certainly in, when working with a Kieran McKenna type coach. So what do we need in terms of striker? And we'll look at some names.
I think we need just a more of an aerial threat, really. I think we really lack that ability to just go back to front really quickly. Someone that can drop in between the lines and just help link up play easily. So I think Norwood and Bond struggled with that type of their game.
Agreed.
I think there was a lot of time where the ball just bounced off them. Same with Pigott. Although his intentions were good to drop in, I think he just didn't have the ability to do it. I think he's the type of striker we want. Someone who has a bit of frame, can drop in, strong in the air.
Don't describe Drogba.
No. But yeah, someone just more of a complete striker. I think when I was looking at the chances we were creating over the course of the season, a lot of them came from heading opportunities. I think we created under McKenna, I think we created an XG of 5 or so from heading opportunities with our strikers and attacking players. And I think we scored 1 goal. So it's definitely an improvement there to be made. I think we create a lot of 1v1s in behind as well. The ability to finish from them is very important as well.
God, it's I don't want to go into Roy Keane mode, but it's his job, isn't it? That's what strikers beg for, don't they? 1v1s.
Yeah.
Right, let's look at, and I'm going to read out these names because these are interesting. Right, Max Waters, Carlton Morris, Johnson Clark Harris, Stephen Humphreys, Ryan Hardy, some successful players from League One last season, George Hurst, Daniel Udo, Least Mousse, Ellis Sims, that's an interesting one, Jerry Yates, Aaron Collins, Callum Hendry, Colby Bishop, he's punished us before, Troy Parrott, Corley Woodrow. I assume you popped Freddie Ladapo on there quite accurately before we actually signed him. Talk to me about some of those names, and talk specifically about Ladapo if you want for a minute, because you'd identified him on there already.
Yeah, I think Ladapo, he'll get goals. There's no doubting about that. I think his availability will be an issue. I think he only played, the last 3 seasons at Rotherham, he hasn't played over 25 games, 25 starts. So
can we give the caveat there, Oscar, that they got Smith and they did like a one up front and loads of central midfielders, didn't they?
Yeah, that was in the Championship, wasn't it?
Towards when they were dropping off at the end of the season, we started to remember when Rotherham just started losing strangely, and we sort of started to see that a little bit in the Championship. God, definitely, wasn't it? Yeah. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, he's a poacher. He'll get goals, but he's also got good ability off the ball. He's okay in the air, not amazing. He's not the complete striker that I want to bring in. I think he's that second striker, and if he doesn't start, he comes off the bench and makes an impact. Right. I think he'll be contending with Jackson for that left inside forward role. To just run the channel. He's got really good 1v1 ability when he gets in behind. He works shots for himself really, really well. I think that's another key thing I was looking for in a striker. A lot of the chances we created are in congested boxes, and we need people that can work a yard of space very quickly, get a shot off. I think Chaplin's very good at that, which is helpful.
Yeah, very much. I think
if we can increase our chance creation down the left, create more cutback opportunities, I think Chaplin could easily get 15, 20 goals.
Yeah, with his early shooting ability, like you say, and
Yeah.
shifting the ball a little. Who else on that list? Because there's some interesting names there. Who do you like?
My number one target was Colton Morris. Quite ambitious. I think the fact Barnsley got relegated mean they don't really want to sell to us. He's a really, really big threat in the channels. I mean, go direct either in behind or to feet or in the air. He can hold it up. He's got a good ability between the lines as well. He played on the wing for Barnsley a lot, although they were very direct. In their spell under Ismail, he still had a job to do on the ball,
Oh, he made a
on the
big
floor.
impact when they arrived, and I suspect if you ask Marcus Schopp, who was Barnsley manager for about 13 games, I think he only had Morris for two games before he got
Yeah,
injured. He might think he would have lasted a bit long. Do you think some Championship teams might bid for Carlton Morris though?
yeah. I can see MK Dons going in for him,
Yeah,
especially
he was there on
if,
loan, wasn't he? Yeah.
yeah, with Russell Martin as well. I think he's good friends with Russell Martin
Oh, you
because
mean
they were there
Swansea?
together at Swansea, yeah, of
Yeah.
course. They were there together at Norwich and MK Dons,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
and I could see that one happening, especially if Michael Obafemi gets sold. Um, I have worries about his finishing record. I don't think he's the greatest of finishers. I also don't think it's something we need. I don't think we need a 20-goal striker because I think we got three players with Jackson Ladapo and the next man to come in that can easily get between them 40, 45 goals. Then got the two tens. I think Morsey can do more. We got Wes Burns on the
Burns.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got potentially if we get the right left back in, who's a threat at the back post like Markin would be, we can increase the goals there and also set pieces. I think we don't need to get a 20-goal striker. It's just about
Be nice though, wouldn't it?
yeah, it would be nice, but I
Um,
think we've got enough threat there.
no, I agree. It's about balance, isn't it? Talk to me about some of these other names on here.
George Hurst, I'm a big fan of. Really tall, can stretch or play, drop off. He can hold the ball up. I don't think he's the greatest between the lines, but I
Is that a
think
freebie as
it's
well? Is he out of
no.
no?
I think I think transfer market said he was out of contract, but I'm not sure that's true. I think there is a fee involved.
Okay.
Um, Plus he's under 23, so even if it was a free, it'd be compensation involved. Um,
Right.
I think he's improved a lot under the Cowleys at Portsmouth. I watched a couple of his first games. He was very raw. You could see the abilities was there, but
Yeah,
as
I
the
remember
season went
him
on,
not cutting it. He went on
yeah,
loan to Rotherham, okay, in a team that ultimately got relegated, but they, ended up not really using him. So I think he needed to come to League One and figure it out, didn't
yeah.
he?
I think with his age at 23, I think he'll be a project player. Someone McKenna would back himself to develop. I think he's got all the abilities. He's great in the air. He's very good at finishing one on one as well, especially in that right channel. And yeah, he's got the lot. I think he's one that can develop into a big money move if played right.
Sure. Talk to me a bit about Ellis Sims because I remember Neil Critchley, who still can't believe is now assistant manager at Aston Villa rather than managing Blackpool. But it was Sims and Yates the
Yeah,
previous season when they went up, and I thought he was excellent.
yeah, I think he's really good. I think he's above our level now. I think he might have a strong pre-season at Everton. I think he's really, really good physically. He can
Championship
stretch a
loan,
line.
maybe.
Yeah, potentially. And if not, he'll be a squad player at Everton. I think League One, I think it's below us now. Unless he went in permanent, his
Yeah.
contract's for 2024, 2 years left. I think it'd
Okay.
be a really big fee. I think he had a decent season at Hearts last year, and he was very good at Blackpool, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he's just too above our level.
Okay. Give me a more realistic one then.
The third one I went for was Corley Woodrow. Someone I think we've been linked with. He's different to Morris and Hurst. He's not a threat in behind. He doesn't have as good of an ability in the air, but his ability between the lines is top notch. And I think if we utilise him, I think this will need a change in system potentially. If we can play him next to Ladapo or Jackson, I think they'll both succeed in equally. If we could just get him between the lines, I think Pigott. We tried to do that a lot with Pigott last year. I think McKenna's the frequency McKenna used him showed he likes his profile, which is very similar to Woodrow, but obviously Pigott didn't cut it, whatever the reason that was. But yeah, I like Woodrow. I think he's got a really good threat outside the box, which is something we really lacked again. That could be another route for getting goals.
It's just that issue you raised, Oscar, of Barnsley would, I'm sure, rather sell to the Championship, get more money, and then not to a rival in terms of.
Yeah.
But what we have seen with Barnsley in the last few years is they're not afraid any transfer window to ship out 8 and bring 10 in. So it's not beyond the realms of possibility. Look, Johnson Clark Harris is the kind of home run League One goal machine. Where do you see him ending up? He's on your list.
I think he's another that's above our level. He was put in mainly because I think his qualities would really suit us. He'd score goals, really good in the air. His back to goal play is superb, I think. I watched him at Bristol City Peterborough earlier this season and he was superb. I think some question marks I have over him, obviously the fee. Secondly, Peterborough won't sell to us. I don't think he's the most athletic. I think I remember when Peterborough were in League One, they didn't really press much from the front because of Clark Harris's mobility levels. I don't think he's the greatest at running in the channels, but he's obviously a goal scorer and he'd get 25 plus, wouldn't he?
Probably at most League One clubs, frankly, wouldn't he? If you just stick him in there, make chances for him, and hide his weaknesses, like you suggested. And what is going to become of Troy Parrott, because he sort of played in a. I mean, he wasn't good for us. I think we can all admit that, but we can all admit the mitigating factors that Lambert kind of lost the plot tactically, or some believe never had it in the first place, did he? But he looked much different. I saw him a couple of times in the flesh for MK. Looked like this dynamic inside forward. Feels more like one of your inside left players rather than your central striker, doesn't he? But where's he likely to end up?
Well, on his inclusion in the list, I think he was one that if Jackson was to not sign his contract, he was one I'd look for. Someone that can play in the inside left, of course. Someone that can play up front because his abilities off the ball are superb as well. He's got a great all-round game, but definitely needs to improve his scoring record. I think he heavily underperformed his XG this season.
Oh, they created loads as well, didn't they?
Yeah, definitely.
Fantastic. Awesome stuff.